Hello. Last week I looked into how to stop fighting in your marriage, and welcome to Marriage Series. So today I'll be looking into, seven common communication mistakes couples do make, often make in their marriage. And it won't shock you, for number one, actually. So this will be divided into two parts because of time. I want to make it short, and obviously I want to get to the point as much as possible as well. So the part two will be out next week as well. So definitely I'll be posting the part two next week, but this will be divided into two parts. So it's seven that we're looking into. I will talk about three or four points today, and then I'll wrap up the rest of the 3 points next week. Obviously, yeah. So that video will be out next week, both YouTube, WhatsApp, and so on. Now, the first point actually is expecting your partner to read your mind. It is practically impossible for us to read people's mind. It can be very difficult because the art is very deep, and obviously you can't know everyone. So what I normally say is this: communicate effectively, communicate your thoughts, your feelings to your partner. Do not actually assume things. Do not feel like, okay, um, you know, my partner should know what to do. He or she should know what to do. He or she should know what I meant. No, they don't communicate that effectively. And this can cause actually a lot of problems. Let everybody know what they're doing. Communication is just really important. And when we talk about communication in marriage, it's so broad, like we can talk about communication for hours, even for days, different areas, different perspectives, and this is really key. Do not expect your partner to read your mind. Communicate what the problem is and how you want to go about it. How do you want to solve it? This is really key. This is how you move forward in your marriage. And number two, obviously, which is very, very important as well, is interrupting or not actively listening to your partner. Now, again, when there is an issue, it is very important for you to kind of find, a way to kind of listen to your partner. Obviously, I know it can be very difficult to listen. Obviously, they're saying things, and at the heat of the moment, you feel like they're saying things that are not true. You feel like that's not true. That's not what it is really. But again, take your time, listen to them, listen to your partner, listen to your husband, listen to your wife, and obviously you can take it up from there as well. Do not just listen because you want to respond immediately. Listen and obviously connect whatever it is that they're saying and make sense of it. Making sense of it is really important because that will help you to see where you are and some of the gaps that they're talking about. Now, ensure that they have your full attention. You can practice it. If you're not good at active listening, practice it. Even a lot of jobs these days, you must have active listening, which is very, very important. Now, do not interrupt them before they finish speaking. Obviously, sometimes at the heat of the moment, we just want to talk as well. We want to talk on top of what they already said. So, again, things can actually escalate quite quickly from there. So please do not actually interrupt your partner during that conversation. That is really, really important. Now, the next bit as well is actually using comparison during conflict. So obviously this could actually affect the mental health of either your wife or your husband. Do not compare your wife or your husband to anybody. We are all different, the way we react to things, the way we think about things, the way we do things is totally different. Do not compare the success of someone else to your husband. Do not compare your husband to someone else. Do not compare your wife, the success of your wife to someone else, or do not compare either way. Do not compare, do not do any sort of comparison at all in your marriage because that is going to damage the confidence of either your husband or your wife. This is really, really key. And obviously, think of how this could even affect yourself. So you can imagine someone comparing you to another colleague that got a promotion before you at your workplace. So you can think how you're going to react, how that's going to affect your mental health. How do you feel that's going to kind of drain you in terms of your personality? So always think about these things. This is really, really important. And obviously, number four is where I'm going to stop today, is avoiding difficult conversations. Now, when you keep avoiding difficult conversation, it's going to lead into resentment. Now, let's say there is something that you keep avoiding. Maybe things keep happening, like obviously you've talked about something over and over and over and over again, and it keeps happening. So And at that point, you just want to avoid talking about it. Avoiding talking about it is not actually going to solve the problem. It's never going to solve the problem. It's going to build up a resentment, and where you will never forgive your partner. You feel like in fact, when you see them, you hate them, really, to be honest. So the best thing you can do is to actually, find a way to fix it. Find a moment that your wife or your husband cherish to actually have that conversation. A moment where you know that they are happy and they are open to actually take on board things as well. See, I know sometimes you might feel like, oh, marriage is not all about he or she should know this, he or she should do that. We are all adult. Fine, we are all adult. If we are all adult, then everybody can just live their life and do whatever it is that they want to do. They can, in fact, there won't even be rule of law. So, but then again, we need to understand that we are all adult doesn't cut it when it comes to marriage. When it comes to marriage, we need to kind of understand that we need to guide each other. We need to be there for each other. We need to kind of communicate effectively with each other. It's a partnership, is not a war, is not something that like is a partnership, is not like a sort of any other thing really. So when you are in a partnership, you have to kind of discuss with your partner. You can have a company where you have like where maybe we have like you are partnering with that company and then you won't communicate with them because you just feel like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with them. Obviously, you can just resign or just leave. Now, this is really, really key as well in marriage. Never ever avoid difficult conversations because it will build up resentment in you and it will never end well. May God bless you because there are plenty of things to actually talk about in terms of avoiding difficult conversations. And I know that a lot of couples who are in a similar situation right now where they feel like, oh my God, this issue, we keep talking about it, or maybe nothing has changed and I don't want to talk about it anymore. Find a moment that your husband cherish, find a moment that your wife cherish, and bring up that topic, discuss it with them, and let them see that you're not trying to criticize or anything like that, but you're trying to make them see what is not working, what is affecting your marriage, and and then how to move forward. If they really cherish this marriage, if they really cherish it, and if they really want it to carry on, they have to kind of like listen to you and actually find a way forward in terms of any issue that or anything at all, or any sort of issue that you might have within that marriage. Thank you so much for listening, and obviously watch out for the part 2 of this next week. Thank you. See you next week. Bye.